You can always go from fruit to money or money to fruit, but not from money to money. That's why you can't go from kesef to kesef. Okay? Now, coins of copper or of gold are considered fruit vis-a-vis silver, because silvers are the best coins. It's like quarters, right? Whereas copper and gold are not as good. Copper because it's too cheap, and gold because it's too expensive. But silver is just right. So it says, Rabbi, you can redeem silver on copper because you can redeem silver on gold as well. Because gold and copper are both considered fruit vis-a-vis silver, which is considered to be a coin. Okay? Again, you wanted to be able to redeem gold on silver. Maybe that doesn't work. Maybe that doesn't work. Just like you can't redeem gold on copper. Meaning that it could be that gold on silver is not good. Why is gold on silver not good? Because it could be gold on silver is also like coin on coin. And what's the proof of that? That you can't do gold on copper, because both are it's like fruit on fruit. Okay, so maybe gold and silver. In other words, I need a significant dissimilarity. Maybe gold and silver are too similar, just like gold and copper are too similar. So he says, how do you know that just because you can redeem silver on copper, they can redeem silver on gold? Maybe those two are too similar to work together. Okay, it's a messy kind of discussion, but the bottom line is we got to make the dissimilarities broad enough in order to be able to redeem one on the other. Okay. Says more. Rabbi Shimon said, "No, Shkei Ma'aser Sheni Shozab Mechanos Almos B'Yerushalmi." No, that's not true. Yes, you can redeem silver on copper. Where if you took gold on copper, if you took gold up to Yerushalayim, in Yerushalayim you're allowed to make change into copper, and then buy food, because you can't buy food with gold. So I take $100 bill into the fruit and vegetable store. Bro, nowadays you can't. It's taking too much money to a store which only sells small amounts. So you're allowed to redeem gold on copper. So therefore you're allowed to redeem gold on silver as well. Says the Gemara, Midivresh name, be that as it may, from both of them we learned. Mechalin, now look at the read baz here. Mechalin kesef al zav. You're allowed to redeem gold, silver on gold. Mechalin zav on the choshes, but you can't redeem gold on copper except where? Where's the other place to redeem gold on copper? Yerushalayim. Nowhere else. Okay? Otherwise, you can't redeem gold on copper. Okay, now, again, this is very unclear to me exactly what's going on here. Rabbi Eliezer B'Shimon said, you can be mechalel, but let me repeat it, maybe I'm going to clarify it both to me and to you. Rabbi Eliezer B'Shimon said you can redeem silver on copper and also gold on silver. Right? Rabbi said maybe not. Maybe you can do silver on copper because you can do silver on gold. But maybe you can't do gold on silver. Why? Because you can't do gold on copper. So Rabbi Eliezer Shimon says you can do gold on copper in Yerushalayim. So Gemara says, you know what, we see from both of them though, you can be mechalel silver on gold. And you can't be redeemed gold on copper except in Yerushalayim. What's their machlokas? Where they can do gold on silver. Rabbi Eliezer Shimon holds you can do gold on silver, whereas Rebbe holds you can't do gold on silver. So Rebbe holds silver on gold. Everybody holds silver on gold works. The machlokas is gold on silver. Now, I don't fully understand why it should work. If it works in one direction, it seems to work, and it should work in the other direction as well, right? If silver on gold works, so it seems to me gold on silver should work as well. But it seems that silver is definitely money vis-a-vis gold, which is definitely fruit. But once you redeemed on gold, let's say you redeem Ma'aser Sheni itself on gold, so then that already gave it a greater significance as currency. And therefore to go from that to silver, that's not permitted.
So Malin Bakodesh.
Yeah, but Malin Bakodesh is not based on the value, because gold is the most value, but rather on the currency concept. And therefore you can go, it's not even Malin Bakodesh Marine. You go from currency to fruit, and from fruit to currency, but not from currency to currency. So silver to gold is currency to fruit. But gold to silver, I'm thinking, where you've redeemed initially on gold, that's considered to be going from currency to currency. Again, because your initial redemption on the gold gave the gold greater credibility as currency, and then it's not possible to go from gold to silver. Okay? I want to repeat that again because I like it and it's still not clear. To go from silver to gold, they can go. Because silver is currency for sure. And gold is generally fruit. But to go from gold to silver, that's a problem. Why? Because gold could be regarded as currency and as fruit. When you redeemed on it, it gives it more credence as currency. And therefore to go from gold to silver is too much like going from currency to currency, according to Rebbe. Because Rebbe Shimon allows that as well. Rebbe Shimon says you go from gold to silver. Okay? You know what? We'll have to stop here for tonight, but that's okay. This is a good stopping point, which is stop. Pick up again on Monday.
So I have a lot of interesting tomorrow tonight. We're on Daf Yud Alpha and Alpha right at the top. And Hasiv, Rabbi Boon. The second word on the page. Hasiv Rabbi Boon Barkana. Rabbi Boon Barkana asked the question. And last week we had a question as to whether they were commanded not to eat chodesh mili when they entered Eretz Yisrael at the time of Yeshua or not. So Rabbi Boon wanted to brought a question as a proof to say that they were chayiv on chodesh mili when they entered Eretz Yisrael. V'aksiv doesn't say vayochlu me'abur oretz. It says that they ate from the crop of the land, mimachras ha-Pesach, from the day after Pesach. When is the day after Pesach? V'lo b'shisha asar, and on the 16th, and we see they waited till the day after Pesach, so we see they kept chodesh. Okay? Hasiv Rabbi Lezer, Bar Yossi, Kumi Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yossi, when he heard this, he said in front of Rabbi Yossi, nah, not a good proof. V'aksiv, I prove to you that that's not a good proof. Says the Jews left Israel when? Machras HaPesach. What day is that? Machras HaPesach? That was Tes Vod Nisan, the day after which Pesach? Day after the Korban Pesach. They have the Korban Pesach. So Machras HaPesach doesn't necessarily indicate the 16th. It may very well indicate the 15th. In which case they were eating Chodesh. The day before Chodesh would normally be mutter. So therefore I see they did not keep Chodesh when they entered Eretz Yisrael. Again, Yad Rama, with an outstretched arm. It's not on the 15th, so therefore they must not have kept Chodesh when they entered Eretz Yisrael.
Didn't we answer last week that it was the man that they used?
Yeah. Oh, so things like that. Good point. So the pasuk says that they ate meat they start eating me'aburos from Mimachras HaPesach. Comes out that for the 30 days from the time that they entered Eretz Yisrael until the first day of Pesach, they were eating still man. That's right. They entered Eretz Yisrael 30 days earlier.
Wasn't Aleph Nisan?
No. Was it Aleph Nisan? I remember what day they entered. Whatever date they entered, for a certain amount of time, until the 15th day of Nisan, they were eating still from the mon. So that's what coming to indicate.
Moshe died on
Zayin Shvat. Zayin Adar. And they waited 30 days for his Avelus. So 7 days, I guess, they were eating from the mon. Something like that. Anyway, the month stopped. No, sorry. It's immaterial when they entered Eretz Yisrael. The month stopped the day Moshe Rabbeinu died. That's right. The month stopped then on Zayin Adar. So until the 15th day of Nisan, they were still eating the mon. I think it's supposed to be 40 days exactly. But the Cheshbon is exactly 40 days of continuing to eat the mon. So I don't assign till Tez Zayin. It tells Tez Vav somehow. It should really come.
It's 40 days.
It is 40 days. Zayin till Tez Vav, practically including the first and the last day. Right, so it's 40 days. So that's what it was. 40 days of continuing to eat the mon, which they had from that last day. So it says Gemara. This should be really a header for the Mishnah. Yotzu mikan l'sham, it should be. If fruit went from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, mikan means Eretz Yisrael, to l'sham means to Chutz La'aretz. Rabbi Lezer Mechai, Rabbi Lezer said it's Chai Mechal, Rabbi Akiva Poter, Rabbi Akiva exempted from Chala. Amar Rabbi, now it should be here, it's also a mistake, it should be Rabbi Lezer Minasrei. Rabbi Lezer learns from the self-same pasuk he learned from last week, Rabbi Akiva Minasrei. Now they have the similar machlokas when Peros Chutz La'aretz come into Eretz Yisrael, whether it's chayiv in challah or not. How so? Rabbi Lezer Minasrei, my time, Rabbi Lezer, what's the logic, Rabbi Lezer? Lechem ha'aretz. It's the produce of the land, b'chol makom shehu, wherever the produce is. In Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz, wherever the produce is, if it came from Eretz Yisrael, it's chayiv. If it came from Chutz La'aretz, it's potter. Rabbi Akiva Minasrei, Rabbi Akiva learns from the same pasuk he learned from. My time, Rabbi Akiva, what's the pasuk, Rabbi Akiva? Eloretz asher nimevi eschem shama, to land which I am bringing you there. Shama atem chayav, and there you're chayav. Ve'atem chayav v'chutz La'aretz, chayav v'chutz La'aretz. So meaning, the fruit has to be in Eretz Yisrael to be chayav. So therefore, if it comes to Eretz Yisrael v'chutz La'aretz, it's chayav. If it leaves Eretz Yisrael to go to Chutz La'aretz, it's potter. I'm not sure. If you already brought in dough, it might not become chayiv, because the point of chiyuv is when it becomes, when you need it. So it means you brought in the raw materials and made the dough in Eretz Yisrael. Okay? Rabbanan the Kesarim b'shem Rabbi Chanina. Rabbanan the Caesarean name Rabbi Chanina said, b'machlokas. The following is a machlokas, and there's going to be a machlokas. It's going to have ramifications, and we'll first see the machlokas, then we'll discuss the ramifications. It says, Kol makom asher tidroch kafra lechem bo lechem yeh. Any place where your feet will step, for you it will be. And then it goes on to tell us afterwards an enumeration of the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael. Ein b'chal ha'masher prat ukray b'Yehuda. Ukray b'Yehuda, there is no chiyuv in mitzvahs hatluyas baretz beyond the promised land. Meaning there's a cloud every place where your feet go, but then there's a prat, all the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael. So we say ein b'chal ha'masher prat. What gets the kedusha of Eretz Yisrael? Only the stuff which is within the boundaries of the promised land. Receiving the Rabbi Yehuda asked the question to Rabbi Yehuda, in b'svarei Eretz Yisrael, if it's talking about specifically within the boundaries, V'aksiv already mentions them. Me'amid bar v'alvanon, azeh, from the desert, from the Lebanon, Adanor, go down to the great river, Narpras, the river of the Euphrates. K'le'etz hachitim, in all the land of the Chitim, of the Hittites, Adayom, go down to the great sea, the Mediterranean, Mavor Shemesh, the way the sun goes, Yegvulchem, that'll be your boundary. So why do we need a cloud? Elimeina in the Sfar Eretz Yisrael. If it's not necessary to teach you the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael, today we need the Sfar Chutz La'aretz. Use it to teach you the boundaries of Chutz La'aretz. Meaning that it goes beyond the prat, and the cloud includes everything Jews conquer. Meaning, if Be'ezus Hashem we conquer Baghdad, so then becomes part and parcel of Eretz Yisrael v'zvid halach of Chal. Okay? So they argue. Rabbi Yehuda argues. Rabbi Yehuda said it's only the promised land. He was Meretz, anti-war. But Ravana are pro-war. Yeah. Don't even bring it up. Wait. I know, sir. That which David conquered in Syria, what the Bali called Kibush Yochid, Yuchayim Mechal Korabon Shbi Chayiv and Chal Doraisa because Komakom Sher Tidro Kaf Raglachem. The Yerushalmi gives the same answer the Bavli gives. Shani Yohi, it's different. Shah David Meinech Sfar Eretz Yisrael. David left the boundaries of Israel alone. No, but he didn't conquer all of Eretz Yisrael. U'mechavi Sfar Echutz La'aretz when he was conquering Chutz La'aretz. But he went out of order. The Bavli says he should have conquered adjacent to Yerushalayim first before having gone to Syria, and he did not. Okay, so that's a technical problem there. Otherwise, talking Korban Yichayev and Chala. Now, here comes the cool part. Rabbi, have a boy Meimar. They wanted to say, Madamar Tamon Chayev. This is Mamish Yerushalmi. This is a whole bunch of cases of classic Yerushalmi. From the machlokus we just extrapolated, we'll understand the machlokus in our Mishnah about ships. In our Mishnah said that Rabbi Yehuda says that a ship which is entering the land of Israel, it said back on Yud Amud Aleph, it only is going to be on the
line.
No. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold that. Rabbi Yehuda says it's got to be land. It's got to be grounded. Rabbanan hold as long as the boat is over the line. It's an Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yehuda holds it's got to be grounded. So we want to say it's the same machlokish. Just like Rabbi Yehuda says, in the promised land and no more, so too above water. No, it's no good. What does it have to be? On the ground of Eretz Yisrael. The boat has to be not just down anchored. The hull of the boat has got to touch land. It's got to touch ground. Whereas Rabbanan hold that Eretz Yisrael extends to wherever it extends even to a boat which is in the water space of Eretz Yisrael. Same machlokas. Okay? Very creative application. Sounds good, right? So me and Madam have a boy, my mother wants to say. Madam Hatzamar Chayev, you says over there Chayev, meaning Rabbanan. Avacha Chayev. So to here, wait. That's true what I just told you. But now the Gemara wants to add on something. What I just told you, the Levi Yerushalayim brings down. But now the Gemara wants to expand further. In the Mishnah it said that whole machloket between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan is talking about by Maisris and by Shvius. By Meiser and by Shvius. When is the fruit in the boat going to be Chayiv and Meiser and Shvius? And then we had a machloket between Rabbi and Rabbanan. If it's only once it's grounded, that's Rabbi Yehuda, or even when it's still floating. Now, Lichor, let's say the same is true about Chala. That was you said over there by Meiser Shvius, you're Chayiv, and there's machloket. Havacha Chayiv, so to hear you're Chayiv, right? By Chala. Madam Tam Potter, he also had the Meiser Shvius, your exam. Havacha Potter, so to hear you're Potter. No, it's Chala, Meiser Shvius, all have the same parameters. Says more, no. Madam Tam on Potter. Even if you go by Meiser and Shvius, you're exempt until you run aground. Hacha Chayiv. Here it's Chayiv. Why? Because no, not just for you run aground. Also, yeah, 1 second. Yeah, I'm correct. Okay. I feel come out of my time pot. You know, who exempts over there by Meiser and Shvius. Here it's going to make you Chayev in Chala. Why came it Shenichnasu Yisrael Nischayvu? Why? Because Chala is more stringent than Meiser. Why is Chala more stringent than Meiser? Because Chala, once they entered the land of Eretz Yisrael, before the 14 years that they divided, that they conquered the divided land, they're already Chayev and Chala. We said by Chala they're Chayev way. The truth is we never expounded on this. We said by Chala they're Chayev way because we said this verse far of it goes back to the Avos. Eretz Yisrael Muchzekes Lorem Be'Avoseinu, or the land is already out sometimes the Avos. So he said the moment they entered Eretz Yisrael they became Chayev and Chala. We didn't explain Meiser and Shvius. I don't know if we have. I'm not sure why the dichotomy. Why Ma'aser Shvius they waited 14 years and Challah not? Perhaps I'm just hypothesizing, because Ma'aser Shvius are contingent on ownership of the actual land, not just presence in the land. In other words, you have to own the land in the land of Israel in order to be Chayv and Ma'aser Shvius. Those 14 years, they weren't considered to be yet fully resident, fully in control of the land. Whereas Challah is a din in the dough of grain which grows in Eretz Yisrael. It's considered Eretz Yisrael from the moment they entered. Something to that effect. I'm just making that up. It could be it's totally off base. But what I'm saying is true, that Challah became Chayv in a way, and Ma'aser Shvius only became 14 years later. So therefore, even Rabbi holds that a floating boat is exempt from Ma'aser and Shvius, it might well be Chayv and Challah, because there's a difference in parameters between Challah and Ma'aser and Shvius. Okay? Says more further. Ksiv, it says, who? This is one of the evil kings of the northern kingdom, Yeravam ben Yoash, who was the king of Yisrael. Not the first Yeravam, that was Yeravam ben Nevat. This is Yeravam, Jeroboam the second, the one who was the son of Yoash. So, Ksiv hu shives gvul Yisrael, he returned the boundary of the Jewish people, Milavo Chamos, from Lavo Chamos, which is somewhere in Syria, Ad Yam Arava, until to the Sea of the Arava, whatever that is exactly. Kizvar Hashem Elokei Yisrael, like the word of God, the Lord of Israel, Asher Diber Bi'arav, who sent this over to his servant, Yonah ben Amitai Anovi, Yonah, same Yonah, I think it's the famous Yonah, Asher Migat Chefer, was from the city of Gatza Chefer. So Rabbi Chanina Raimona Charamar Komash Kivish Yoshua Kivish there. Rabbi Raimona said they had a historical disagreement. It's really not about Chlokas and Halacha. That everything Yoshua conquered and was taken away by attrition by the Goyim over time, Yeravam ben Yoash brought back. Whereas the other Madam holds Yeravam went beyond the boundaries of Yoshua and conquered his own stuff independent, above and beyond that. Tana, we learned Tana Rabbi Sidur. What we learned in the house of Rabbi Sidur, I never saw that name before. Rabbi Sidur. Tana Rabbi Sidur, Misayel Rabbi Mona. It was a riot of Rabbi Mona. That which Rabbi Sidur said. What did Rabbi Sidur say? Yomim Kalim Os Yisrael Bosaret. Very few days there was Am Yisrael in this land which Yeravam ben Yoash conquered. So that signifies to us, even though it's not explicit proof, that it wasn't part of the original land conquered by Yehoshua, and therefore he lost it relatively quickly because of many adversaries. Okay? Of the time Yehoshua? Yeah. Yeah, but that's true. But the question is whether this is above and beyond what Yehoshua conquered. He conquered it. I don't know what other periods have conquered as well, but I know what you're talking about. It appears in Tanakh somewhere, I don't remember what context. Okay. Realize it may. Is Syria. Yeah, Torah Chutzah comes to Syria. Nazis, because Syria is made like, it becomes like Syria. Yotzim Yisham L'kan, if it leaves Syria and comes to Eretz Yisrael, and it's Chayiv. What? Yes. Ravida said, Amos said, when it's true, it's Manchas, Vino Go Sheshes, when the boat is is brushing the ground. Rabbi Chagai said an amazing thing. You got it. This is classic Yerushalmi. Rabbi Yehuda Kedaite. Rabbi Yehuda's like his line of reasoning. The Rabbi Yehuda Peter Mayim Vishay Mamish. The halacha is Rabbi Yehuda says in Masechta Beitzah, if you have two women who together made a dough, one gave the water, one gave the flour. You can have more women. One gave the salt, one gave the vanilla extract, and so on and so forth. So on Yom Tov, when this cake is baked, so the Tchum Shabbos of this cake, the 2,000 amos, is determined on the basis of all of these women. And since none of them is the principal owner, since each gave a portion. Okay? Excuse me. So there, Rabbi Yehuda says everybody establishes the Tchum Shabbos of the cake except for the woman who gave the water. Why is that? Because my main by mamish. Water is insignificant. So it's up there. What does he say? He says, what does it mean water is insignificant? Water is like air. If water is like air, that's where we understand that Rabbi Yehuda holds that unless the boat is dock, is brushing the ground, it's not considered to be an Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because it's got airspace between it and the ground. How we know it's airspace? From the Gemara in Beitza. This is amazing. This is Ma'aser Yerushalmi. Leaping across vast areas of Shas in order to make these comparisons. Hyper connection. Now, Rabbi Yavin said, Lo mis... Excuse me, I have a cough. Lo mistabra, do which of course in Shah means do elo, right? This doesn't make sense. Rather, mechafa shita say, on the contrary. If it's like airspace, if water is like air, it's better. Why is that? What happens when you have air in between a perforated pot and the ground? It's mechuber. If you hold water is not like air, then pak air, it's a hefsek. No, the water is like air, it's better. It should be dafka mechuber to Eretz Yisrael that way, right? Right, that's what he says. Lo mistabra ela mechal pashita say. Lo haisa hasvina gosheshes. You should say that if the boat is not touching the ground, that it is like it's touching the ground because it's just like an otzitz nokuv agabi seidos, just like a perforated pot on top of poles, right? And so says Gemara, rather, this is not the reasoning. Nice try, the tie-in from Beitza won't wash. Rather, Lois Asfina Gosheshes, get it, water wash. Lois Asfina Gosheshes. Lois Asfina Gosheshes. Lois Asfina Gosheshes. Lois Asfina Gosheshes. You gotta laugh at my joke, especially this hour. Lois Asfina Gosheshes. If the boat was not floating, Masrosea Mehalocha, then the Ma'aser on it are the Rabbana. That I should tell you what the Levi Yerushalmi says. Levi Yerushalmi says that Rabbi Yehuda says that which Rabbi Yehuda says by water, aim by mamish. It's not that they're like air. Of course, it's not like air. Rather, but what? It's insignificant. So it's not like Rabbi Chagai assumed that water is like air, in which case it would be better. But rather, water is water, but it's insignificant, and therefore it doesn't dictate the Tchum Shabbos of the bread. And therefore here it's an interruption between the boat and the ground. Okay? So that's obvious. I mean, that's the Gemara's conclusion. If the boat was not at dock, on the ground, the Ma'asers you take off on the boat are midrabanan. Now, since only Ma'asers midrabanan, you can take truma from the boat. This is only Rabbi Yehuda. You can take truma from something growing on the boat on something growing in a non-perforated pot. And from something which is growing in a non-perforated pot, a love, because they're both the same status, right? Like we learned, a non-perforated pot. It's Ma'aser only midrabanan u'truma. And if truma from such a pot falls into a mikchulin, it doesn't make meduma. And if a non-kohen eats it, he doesn't pay a fifth. Okay. All that makes sense. Rabbi Hillel B'Shem Rabbi Elazar said, it's a big chiddush she's about to say. You buy a perforated pot in Syria. You put it over a goy's land. The perforated pot is yours, including the dirt inside. The land underneath is not yours, it's a goy's. Now, in Eretz Yisrael, that won't make a difference. Because Eretz Yisrael is Be'etzem Kodosh. But in Syria, we say land of a goy is not chayv in any Trumas Ma'aser. And the whole thing is the Rabbana, because it's only Kibush Yachid. So there, because it's only conquest of David Adal. So if the land underneath is a goy, so the Chorah should be exempt altogether, right? The Chiddush is it's not. It's a perforated pot. Even though land needs belongs to a guy. The Kagush al Gab of Kana, he only acquired the land on top of the perforated pot. That's sufficient l'chayvo b'maisers u'l'shvius. He's still chayv to keep in his perforated pot. That looks the maiser shvius. I feel not so garbage they say those. Even if it's on top of two poles, meaning it's severed from the ground. Not just if it's resting on the ground, but even if it's in midair. Yeah, even in Syria. I don't remember. I don't think so. I could be wrong.
Otherwise, it would be wouldn't it be Mekabel Tumah?
No, from the airspace? No, it's a perforated pot.
Yeah.
I don't know what that little perforated pot. No, it's like Mechul Karka.
We have way back at the beginning of Shvius. It turned out it does not coincide with the Hebrew Rabbanan of Shvius.
No, but then Syria would be tummy. Yeah, I don't remember if it's tummy or not. I don't remember.
It just doesn't.
I don't remember if it's tummy or not. But I don't think so. Because then all the truma you took up in Syria would be to tummy, and you do give it to a Kohen. Yeah, I don't think it's matami. I don't think so. But I don't remember. It could be I'm wrong. But name it. After Rav Yehuda Moedibo, even Rav Yehuda could see this. Ma'avin ben Tzvino. What's the difference between this and a boat? That was a little bit difficult. I could have just given the answer that a boat is interrupted by water and this is not interrupted. He doesn't give that difference. He says a boat, Tzvino Olav Yoredes. It goes up and down. Here the flower pot is static. It's in the same space, the same place. So if it's constantly deriving the same nourishment. So I don't know why he just didn't answer. There's a difference between airspace and water space. I don't know why he didn't answer that, but he doesn't. Maybe here in the back he says something. One second.
So since the boat is always moving,
right? So it's never considered mechuber to any spot over which it is. So I guess we're going. Even if you held that water is not doesn't have mamoshes, still not going to be considered connected on the spaces because it goes up and down.
Both ways.
It could be he says something, but okay, it's too long now to figure it out. Okay, says no more further. Now here we really should have like a header. And we're going to have it says, the Mishnah says later in the Mishnah, that if you have a dough which is kneaded with mei peros, with the juice of a fruit, so it's chayav b'chala. So a cake would be chayav b'chala, right? Rabbi Yosef Rabbi China Amar, Rabbi Yosef ben Yehuda Ish Partusoi. It's going to Rabbi Yosef ben Yehuda Ish Partusoi. Did you see that we learned over there in one of the other Masechtos? Was it Taros or something? Tuya. The theater we learned over there. Lost my place. Rabbi Yosef ben Yehuda Ish Partusoi. Says name Rabbi Yeshua. Pasal es kula. Now that means if you needed a dough with fruit juice, it's mechaber the whole dough. It's not machshir the dough to be mekabel tumah, because what's machshir mekabel tumah? Only
10.
That's true. The 7 mashkim. Meir Perez is not one of them, right? So it's not machshir mekabel tumah. But once the grain is mukshul kabel tuma, the mei peros creates a sufficient connection in the dough that if you touch one part of the dough, it's matami the whole dough. Is that clear what I'm saying? It unifies the pieces. In other words, if you had a flour, just flour, you touch one layer of flour, the rest of the flour would still be tar because flour is not connected integrally, right? So only the stuff you touch would be tummy. But in this dough, the matami the whole dough because the mei peros makes the whole thing one unit, one chibur together. Okay? So he would be the one who will hold by chalo also that it makes the dough. it's considered unified now, and therefore it's chayiv and challah. You see that connection? Other hyper connection to a certain extent. So.
Also saying the same thing.
Yeah, but you could have cookie dough. You could have cookie dough with bakers that'll be machshir kabel tumah the same way, but it's not.
No, it's not machshir kabel tumah. Only if the flour became moistened before.
Yeah, all right. So it became moistened. So is it chayiv and challah cookie dough?
You make enough. We make enough. We had before that pancake stuff which you cook is potter. Pancakes, matzah balls, but anything baked is going to be chayiv. Even our shayla bagels are going to be potter because they're baked and they're cooked and baked. We said they're not potter. So ultimately you're chayiv, but anything baked, even cookie dough, would be chayiv. Okay. So says Gemara, Rabbi Akiva argues. Rabbi Akiva Omer Mishmo. Even if you need it with fruit juice, not needed, and therefore you only possible to replace what you touch, not the entire thing. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar, Mapligin, when did Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Akiva argue? When it first was Mukshal Kabel Tumah, and then it was needed with fruit juice. Shemei Peros, now this should be Mechabrin. Mei Peros are not Mechuvarim, but Mechabrin. They connect in order to be machshir kabel tumah. It first was needed and only afterwards to get wet with a regular beverage, one of the 7 beverages. And may peros mechabrin la'achshir. Then the may peros are not mechaber because then it's too late. Only the part in which the liquid falls becomes mukshul kabel tumah. It's an interesting concept. I don't understand exactly why it makes a difference whether the tumah falls, whether the action takes place before you need the dough or not. But that's what he's saying. It makes a difference.
That's the only way you can say it right now, right?
Yeah, he doesn't explain it. Okay, be that as it may. Rabbi Chia, b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, said, Divrei HaKoli. Our mission can be like everybody, even called Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva my Tamon. You know, Akiva said over there. Here's the case where Tamon in the Yerushalmi means over there. Even though he said over there, Ein mei peiros mechabin l'tumah, that fruit juice is not mechaber vis-a-vis halachos v'yin kabel tumah. Moidu achos shemei peiros mechabin l'challah. He concedes vis-a-vis challah, the parameters are more lenient. By challah, you need to have just the dough. You don't have to have a tumah connection. So the fact that it's needed with mei peiros is sufficient to be mechaber to make it connected. Rabbi Ba and Rabbi Chia b'shem Rabbi Shmuel Levi said, "Ein l'chol mechaber el shivas hamashkim milvad." The only thing which is mechaber are the 7 beverages. What are they? Wine, blood, what? Water, milk. No, in order. I need them in order. Yad shachatam. Wine, blood, oil, milk, dew. What are those? He said? Thrash, right? Not bee honey. Is it bee honey? Last time I got it wrong. You told me, you proved it to me. It's one of the 2 honeys. Which one is it? Bee honey, you sure? I think it's date honey. It's date honey. I don't think bee honey is considered beverage honey. But date honey and water. Right. Okay. So those 7. You need to need a dough. If you need a dough with any of those 7, it's a chibur. If not, it's not a chibur. Even so, now the Gemara asks, what was he talking about? Rabbi Yossi boy, my sama. So what was he talking about? L'chala l'tuma. Was he talking about chala or about tuma? If you're going to say that may payers are not a chibur for chala, so koshke l'tuma, they're certainly not a chibur for tuma, right? Because the cohesion which is necessary in order to be chayv and chala is less than the cohesion necessary for tuma. In Tamer, if you're going to say l'tuma, that it's not a chibur vis-a-vis tuma, perhaps a l'chala lo. Maybe l'chala it's not a problem, and it is a chibur. Because again, chala has less stringent parameters. Rabbi Yoina Pshitole, Rabbi Yoina Ba'imos Bashet, L'chala. For chala, it's not a chibur, and koshkin, it's not a chibur for chala. It's certainly not a chibur vis-a-vis totuma. Rabbi Yoina Kedaite. Rabbi Yoina is like he said elsewhere. To Rabbi Yoina Tani, Rabbi Yoina learned to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, and named Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Rabbi Shimon ben Levi also taught Shimon ben Yochai, also learned named Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. To Tani, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, what Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai say? He said, Rabbi Tarfon, and the name Rabbi Tarfon, Nemar kan chala. It says by the mitzvah of chala, v'nemar lao, and it says by korbanos, chalas lechem shemen, semenoches are brought from loaves of oily bread. And just like the challah mentioned over there is made with oil, which is avchal shneimar kan asuya b'shemen. So to the challah mentioned must be made with oil. Shemen echad mishivas hamashkinu. And says oil is one of the 7 beverages, so we extrapolate say any one of the 7 beverages suffices. Okay? Rabbi Yossi b'shem Rabbi Shabbos he said, Rabbi Chia b'shem Rabbi Shimon Lucky said, for challah and to wash one's hands for eating, one has to go 4 meal. To find, so he explains, to find a kneader, a professional kneader, Kneader, who does it b'tahara. In order to continue to have your dough kneaded b'tahara. Okay? If you didn't wait, so then you made it to Tameh, so you're Chayim Mishum Tuma. Well, I take that back. If you didn't wait, but Shimon Luggage doesn't discuss what the consequences are which you didn't if you didn't wait. You just said you're supposed to wait. Okay? So we have to walk 4 meal in order to potentially come to a place where you'll be assured that the halachas will be fulfilled. Rabbi Yitzchak said, "Hard the table in front of it. It's only if it's walking in front of you 4 meal. But to walk in back of you, so we don't make you walk backwards." I think the Bible Yerushalmi brings us down here, but the Bible still brings down. We don't make you walk backwards more than 1 meal, but 1 meal we do make you walk not backwards, back in the other direction, right? Okay. So says the Gemara. Shormei ganos, upardesim, people who watch gardens and orchards, ma'at avilo. What's their halacha? Do they have to move it all? Or do I say that in front of them is like in back of them, and they don't have to move? They can just remain static. If they get the thief, good. If not, tough. What's the halacha? It's for our Mishnah. It says a woman can sit and take off challah naked. Why can't she just go in the bedroom and get some clothes on? Vada isha, lo b'soch beis yosheves. She's not in her house. The tema well, we're not going to make her even go to the bedroom. So the answer is, we don't make her go into the bedroom. So what do we see? So to when do you have to move 4 meal or 1 meal in order to make a challah b'tahara or in order to wash your hands? When you're on the move anyway. But if you're stationary, we don't even make you go into the next room. So to the Shormei Ganos and Pardesim, which are stuck there doing guard duty, we don't even make them go anywhere in order to just or to avoid eating bikurim. Okay? Says the Gemara, not bikurim, grain without having taken challah. Apologize. Grain without taking challah. Says the Gemara further. Tani, we learned. This is off on a tangent. Hamaim shalivnei hamazon, water which you wash with before you eat, reshus, it's optional. The shalach hamazon, that which you wash with after you eat, mayim achronim v'chova, it's mandatory. Same lashon appears in the Bible almost. El lashon rishonim. No difference is at the rishonim. My rishonim natil mafsik. You wash twice. So I mean it, of course, right? You wash, you interrupt, and then you wash again. Rabbi Yaakov Barachel Martin, I'm sorry. You just do 1 time. There's a little bit of riot for the Gra. The Gra says that Mayim Achonim should be done with the revius, with the full measure of water. So here it sounds like that too, because it sounds like the only difference between the first time and the second time is the right number of times, right? Not the shiur of the water. That's correct, right? That's so it's a little bit like the raw. Okay, a little bit. I don't know if it's a riot, but that's what I would say. Says the Gemara, Ma'al Mafsik. Why do you interrupt? Oh, what is the interruption? Because go out and schmooze in the middle. No, Rabbi Yaakov Racham no Tzavashani. You watch again. Rabbi Yaakov Bar Avita boy. He asked, no Tzavashani. It says you got to watch twice. V'atamat Rishus. You're calling that Rishus. Furthermore, it should be instead of in is. It's the boy Meir Basmi, and they say you have to walk 4 miles in front of you in order to get the water. V'atamat Rishus. You're saying it's optional. Sounds mandatory to me. More doesn't answer these questions. More goes on to the thing.
I think we say in the box.
What? Yeah. It's not Rishus. Vis-a-vis my Machronim, it's Rishus, but it's really mitzvah. That's what it says in the Bible. Okay? I'm Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbi Yaakov said a shtikla agadato al Rishonim, because somebody didn't wash Mayim Rishonim, nechol b'sar chazir, he ate pig's meat. You're all familiar with this mitzvah. It's brought down in the Bavli. It's a couple of times. The two people went to the restaurant at the time when they were xeris, right? Against openly conducting themselves if you're Jewish. So the storekeeper used to have a simon. If anybody washes his hands, Mr. was Jewish, then he would give them kosher food. So one guy walked in and didn't wash his hand, he didn't get kosher food, right? So that's where it said, by omitting pig's meat was eaten. So a certain woman was kicked out of her house. There's another elaborate Maisa. A certain individual who gave money, Reuven gave money to Shimon to safeguard. He said, don't give it to anybody unless they give you a sign from me. In the meantime, Shimon left, and his wife was left home with the money. So Reuven Reuven had seen Shimon, and no, I think it was a Levi. Reuven gave money to Shimon to safekeep, and Shimon said Shimon not to give it up unless it's a direct command. Shimon went away and left his wife in charge. Levi comes and says, listen, Mrs. Shimon, your husband said to give me the money, and he sent me a sign that you should believe me, which is he told me what you ate for breakfast: scrambled eggs. And since I know that you ate scrambled eggs for breakfast, so therefore start giving me the money. Okay, because I have a sign that I know your husband ain't married. I had to wash my machronim.
Levi saw Shimon.
Right, Levi saw Shimon with the stuff on his mustache. Right, so he knew that what Levi had eaten. So it's just a trick on his part. So he went. So when Shimon got home, he was very upset. Right, so he divorced his wife. So she got kicked out because of that. Three people were killed as a result. The husband killed the wife. The son came to the father to protest. The husband killed him as well. And then the husband went up to the roof and committed suicide. Jolly good Meister, right?
I know, I was going to bring that up. How could that be?
Shasak Zera, you have to serve non-kosher. The Romans are coming in to eat there. Okay? Right. Okay. You have a good question. I don't have a good answer. Could be a storekeeper was not kosher style. No, I know where it is. It's on the line.
Shiur boys used to go to Lockwood Castle and have ice cream. They served Amish treats.
Did I ever tell you the Ma'aser with Goldman? There's a Ma'aser. It's a tremendous design. The Chicago Jewish Historical Society put out a book by old Rabbi Goldman's son. Old Rabbi Goldman's son is an Oicher Yisrael. He became a conservative rabbi and drives on Shabbos and the whole business. Also Rabbi Goldman somewhere in Connecticut. So he wrote that he attended the yeshiva in the 40s. But it wasn't for him then. He came in one day to the yeshiva and was shaved with a razor. So the dean, Rabbi Greenberg, kicked him out, but the president, Rabbi Silber, readmitted him. Okay? So Rabbi Greenberg was to a certain extent more frum than Rabbi Silber, although not completely. But in any event, neither of them were the extreme right-wingers. So one time, another time, during the 9 days, this is the mice in the book. Goldman says he walked into a restaurant and he ordered a corned beef sandwich. And the dean was sitting in the same restaurant eating ice cream. So the dean got all upset at him. So after the dean left, so Goldman went and asked the owner of the restaurant what the ingredients of the ice cream were. So it turns out it was treif ice cream. It had gelatin in it. So the next day the dean calls him at the office and says, hi, how can you eat corned beef during the 9 days? It's usher. So Goldman said back there, hi, how can you eat treif ice cream? It's always usher, not just the 9 days. So, but this is gelatin. Yeah. Oh, so it's down there on gelatin. Gershuni sat on gelatin. Gershuni's the one who gave Ashkoch on gelatin for many years. Yeah. That was a blanket that was the heter. Reb Chaim Mosher also the same heter. The question is how they process it. Right. No, but Lav Dafka. I don't think it's the Yovish case. The Yovish case, everybody agrees. The question is Nishtana. But it's too complicated to get into tonight. I have a good tape on the topic. CH22, I think it is. One of the early tapes. Okay. In any event.
But he was eating ice cream at a restaurant.
Right. Oh, yeah. So, right. No, the meat was kosher. Serving corned beef. The same restaurant was serving corned beef and ice cream. Yeah. Those are good old days. Okay. So, in any event, be that as well as it may, our Mishnah teaches us the buttocks are not erva. Now, why is that? Because it says a woman can lie down on the ground and make a bracha, even though she's stark naked. So her buttocks are facing into the air. She's lying on her stomach. But see, buttocks are not a rice. Hard to that the bracha, that's the term making a bracha. You make a bracha in the prayer, she make a bracha when her buttocks are exposed. What? Rogel v'kach? No. That's not what it is. Okay, it's not like here. It's only for her, it's not for other people, for men necessarily in the room. You're not allowed to look at the buttocks. Right? As it says, somebody looks at the heel of a woman, as if he's looking at her womb. Somebody looks at her womb, as if he has relations with her. The voice of a woman is an erva. Matam, why? It came to pass from the voice of her licentiousness. From that, the land was full of flattery, meaning here, Aveira, a person could stand over excrement and daven, as long as his flesh doesn't touch the excrement. So the way the Farshim learned, that means that if you have a hole in the ground that has excrement in it, so he can put his foot, even his bare foot, over the hole, as long as there's no smell, and his foot is not touching the excrement, he can daven in that situation. Okay, because the excrement is covered, and he's not touching it. Okay? If a person sits, means he defecates, and he doesn't wipe himself afterwards, also is forbidden to daven. because there's still flecks adhering to the skin. Alright, Ramana said, Avagav Lomar Rav Huna should be. Avagav the Lomar Rav Huna Ha Milsa, even though Rav Huna didn't say this explicitly. Amar the Kavasa. He said something similar. Rav Huna never said this business about sitting down not wiping yourself. But we extrapolate from what it says previously. The Rav Huna Amar Omeru Adam Al Kabi Tzom Ispalo. Rav Huna had said that a person could stand over excrement and daven. As long as his flesh doesn't touch the excrement. So from this we derive, if a person sat and defecated and didn't wipe himself, his flesh is now touching the excrement, and therefore that he's not allowed to daven.
It's obviously because he didn't have the stones on Shabbos.
Didn't have the stones, right? Okay? Halacha base. No, boy, things went too well tonight. I'm ahead of myself. Well, this I still prepared. Did you guys both on Marv already? Not Marv? No. Otherwise, I'll let you go early. Somebody who can't make his dough when he's tahor. He's like Mizman. We're all tummy. So what do we do? How do we make the dough? Yasena carbon. So Tanakama holds you make it in sections. In small amounts. Don't make a large amount when you're tummy, in order you shouldn't be mechayev in the challah. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Yasena B'tuma, even though you're tummy, you should still do it. Vayasena kabi, you should not make in small amounts. Why? Because there's an advantage to making challah even with your tummy. Just like you designate challah on Torah grain, dough, so you designate challah on tummy dough. And l'zukor echal b'shem, when you take challah off a tar batter, you make a brach on it b'shem. L'zukor echal b'shem, so you make a brach on it. So therefore, it's advantageous to make the bracha. Avakabayim, but if you're going to make it in separate batter, saying them challah b'shem, there's no challah you can take off. So they're not with the brachas. So therefore, it's better to make a betuma than to make it in smaller shiur. Ha'osus yisaso kabi. What if you made your grain, your dough, in small amounts, and then the various different piles of dough touched each other? The example of challah, they don't make them shiur unless literally they bite, unless these little piles of dough get mixed together. Rabbi Lezer says, we pass this way. Even if you took out 4 separate challahs from the oven, which were baked separately, and you put them into a basket afterwards, the sal makes them join together to be mechayev mechallah. It does have to be together when it's a dough, when it's kneaded, but even if it gets together after it's baked, and by putting all the breads in one basket, so you're chayev mechallah. This is so somebody, a woman once asked me, how she can take challah of what she bakes in a bread maker, because it's much less than the chiyuv. So I said the truth is the only way you can take it off is by running the bread maker a few times and coming to this scenario where all of them can be put into a basket, and then we're all put in the basket and they become chayev mechallah ritual. Okay?
Now, when they are put in the basket, do they become adherent to each other, or they're still?
No. But the basket is mitzarif. The being in the basket joins them together. Okay? Says more further. What's the status? Well, it should be ma. What's the status? Is to mean that if you have less than 4 meals to go, like we said previously, before you can find somebody to do it for you, b'tara. So then you should, if it's less than 4 meals, I said b'tara. If it's more than 4 meals to the next dough kneader, then you should just make it in small batches. Or exactly 4 meals should make it in small batches. Or is it arbas meal if it's exactly 4 meals? Yasena b'tara. You should still do a b'tara. Why should you still do a b'tara?
Fine. That's fine too. I have no problem.
Oh, you should wait till you get there. Right, you should wait till you get there. But to Yoser Abbas meal, if it's more than 4 meals there, then you have to you can make it in small batches. So, Nishmina Me'adol, it's here from this case. I'm winging it now, by the way. If I run aground now, we're just going to stop. This is like Caesarea. In other words, wherever they were, it doesn't say exactly where they were, but like Caesarea, which was 4 mil away. Kesarin Lavarbas Milin is the case of Caesarea. 4 mil for where Rabbi Chia was. Damara, it teaches us that if it's up to 4 mil, exactly 4 mil, you have to go to Caesarea to do it. Don't do where you are. So after 4 mil, go to Caesarea and get it done there. If it's more than 4 mil away, you have to send a copy. You can make it in small batches. Rabbi Yami Hori B'Kfar Shemi, Rabbi Yami Paskin in the city called Kfar Shammai. It says here in the Yerushalmi, Lasos Iso Gedola Betuma, to make a large batch of dough, even Betuma, right? Wait a minute, but there was less than 4 mil from Kfar Shammai to the place where there was a kneader who could knead the dough betara. So the more it's true, it's less than 4 mil. But me came in the Naga Mafsi, since there was a river in the middle, Kamishe Shamar Bas mil. So that counts as if it's 4 mil. Okay, I'm not going to burden you anymore with my blundering. Let's stop here for this evening. Today's Yudalit. What's today?